You obviously can learn object recognition from images. You can learn speech from just listening to sound. You can learn even languages and vocabulary and syntax and grammar, and all just by studying a whole bunch of letters and words. So we've now demonstrated that AI or deep learning has the ability to learn almost any modality of data, and it can translate to any modality of data. And so what does that mean? You can go from text to text, right? Summarize a paragraph. You can go from text to text, translate from language to language. You can go from text to images. That's image generation. You can go from images to text. That's captioning. You can even go from amino acid sequences to protein structures. In the future, you'll go from protein to words. What does this protein do? Or give me an example of a protein that has these properties, identifying a drug target. And so you could just see that all of these problems are around the corner to be solved. You can go from words to video. Why can't you go from words to action tokens for a robot? Mm-hmm. From the computer's perspective, how is it any different? And so it opened up this universe of opportunities and universe of problems that we can go solve. And that gets us quite excited.
It feels like we are on the cusp of this truly enormous change. When I think about the next 10 years, unlike the last 10 years, I know we've gone through a lot of change already, but I don't think I can predict anymore how I will be using the technology that is currently being developed.
That's exactly right. I think the reason why you feel that way is the last 10 years was really about the science of AI. The next 10 years, we're going to have plenty of science of AI, but the next 10 years is going to be the application science of AI, the fundamental science versus the application science. And so the applied research, the application side of AI now becomes, how can I apply AI to digital biology? How can I apply AI to climate technology? How can I apply AI to agriculture, to fishery, to robotics, to transportation, optimizing logistics? How can I apply AI to, teaching? How do I apply AI to, podcasting, right? And so
I'd love to choose a couple of those to help people see how this fundamental change in computing that we've been talking about is actually going to change their experience of their lives, how they're actually going to use technology that is based on everything we just talked about. One of the things that I've now heard you talk a lot about and I have a particular interest in is physical AI, or in other words, robots.
My friends.
Meaning humanoid robots, but also robots like self-driving cars and smart buildings or autonomous warehouses or autonomous lawnmowers or more. From what I understand, we might be about to see a huge leap in what all of these robots are capable of, because we're changing how we train them. Up until recently, you've either had to train your robot in the real world, where it could get damaged or wear down, or you could get data from fairly limited sources like humans in motion capture suits. But that means that robots aren't getting as many examples as they'd need to learn more quickly. But now, we're starting to train robots in digital worlds, which means way more repetitions a day, way more conditions, learning way faster. So we could be in a big bang moment for robots right now. And NVIDIA is building tools to make that happen. You have Omniverse, and my understanding is this is 3D worlds that help train robotic systems so that they don't need to train in the physical world.
That's exactly right.
You just announced Cosmos, which is ways to make that 3D universe much more realistic. So you can get all kinds of different, if we're training something on this table, many different kinds of lighting on the table, many different times of day, many different, experiences for the robot to go through so that it can get even more out of Omniverse. As a kid who grew up loving data on Star Trek, Isaac Asimov's books, and just dreaming about a future with robots, how do we get from the robots that we have now to the future world that you see of robotics?
Yeah. Let me use language models, maybe ChatGPT, as a reference for understanding omniverse and cosmos.